Boy, I'd love to have a Volkswagen Beetle again. That was my one car, the one car I truly loved. But I'm afraid today it's an old wineskin and it really needs to be thrown away. I'm not sure it would be that comfortable anymore. In the gospel, we hear about old wine or new wine in an old wineskin. Yeah, there's an interesting challenge here where Jesus is calling us in the gospel to know ourselves and know who we are, to know our gifts and get ready for a time of true renewal of ourselves. However, we struggle both in the material world and in the spiritual world to become new wineskins. Think about it. We do it the same way every year. Oh, so many things because it's easier. We're wired not to like change. And yet Jesus' mandate is to grow into his body, to change, and to love the gifts that he has given us. So how do we become new? How do we rid ourselves of the old? We hear about patches today. Yeah, often we patch up our lives to try to make it right. But we know we need to get rid of those things that don't serve us spiritually or even physically anymore. That Volkswagen Beetle is most likely not going to work. In faith, we let it go for something new. We all have those things in our lives that we need to let go of. Wineskins are interesting because there were no bottles then. There were stone jars or wineskins. And when new, they stretched with wine, but they eventually became brittle and would break. There's a certain brittleness in our own lives, isn't there sometimes? We call called to throw that out and to get new, softer, pliable selves through prayer, through commitment to the scriptures, that the self of a second look, the self of an examination of conscience helps renew us and open us up to be new. We're called to that acceptable fast. Anytime we struggle, anytime we sacrifice, we're fasting from sin. In the early 80s, that Volkswagen Beetle was great, but in 2024, I think it's a brittle wineskin at best. In the new year, we pray to be open to a new, pliable self that can adapt and grow in the gospel, becoming a fertile ground for compassion and mercy and a holy openness to the call of Christ, that we can be his disciples more deeply in this world.